Hi everyone, Michelle White here, and welcome to my course on the time and date widget. In this tutorial, we'll learn how to add the widget, of course stylize it, and apply it to the digital signage. So let's go ahead and get started. So currently what you're seeing, you guys, is basically an example of how you could format your date or your time. Again, you can have the month in here if you like. There's a variety of ways to sort of format how you want this to display. This is just sort of one example. So in this tutorial where it says Eden Prairie, we're just going to add another time and date so I can sort of walk you guys through these steps. So back into the layout editor here, I'm going to go ahead and create a zone. So if you don't know, always the first step is to create a zone. You always have to create a zone, and then after that you can add the widget or widgets to it. So I'm going to skim through just a little bit on the zone creation, only because there is a tutorial that really does deep dive into that, and today's focus is really just on the widget itself. So up here in the top right, I'll hit New Zone. Now I am going to give this sort of a name, and I'm going to name it exactly what my widget is, so time and date. I'll hit Next, and then I'm just going to enter some sort of information in. The zone basically can't get created unless it has those numbers. Again, it can be whatever you want. I just always start with that 100, 100. And then as you can see, I'm sort of already moving or dragging this to sort of accommodate the space that I'm going to put it in. So, all right, so as you can see, I've already created my zone. Before I do add the widget, I am going to change that z-index to 1 because we want the widget to sit on top of the background. So how do I add the widget? Very simple. I'm going to go ahead and just double click right in here, and I'm going to hit Add Widget. So down here in the bottom it says Time and Date. And I always tell clients to basically sort of start from your left and work your way right. Each widget is a little bit different. So some of the widgets, like the schedule, we have multiple templates, or there's a little bit more customization or fundamentals that you can add to it. So your tabs might vary based on widget. But again, we're focusing on the time and date here. Now, as you can see, as a default, you're landing on the widget info. So of course, I could just change the name if I wanted to. Usually when you utilize this, or when you do utilize it, is when you have multiple widgets in here. So to give you a scenario here, let's say I had a social media, and I have my Twitter and my Facebook and my Instagram. Instead of all three widgets saying social media, I might want to come in here and just say, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. It's just a nice little visual for yourself. Order, saturation, priority, duration. Again, I'm going to tell you just to kind of skip over this, only because of that one tutorial that I was referring to earlier really does a good job sort of deep diving on what these functionalities are. So let's go ahead and jump into the second one. It's called Time Date Setting, and we'll just kind of fill out our time zone. As you can see, we do have a variety of ranges of time zones to pick and choose from. We are Central Time, so just kind of start there. And then we have formats that you can choose from. So a lot of people always have questions kind of like, okay, well, where is this information being pulled from? Well, the information is being pulled from something called a PHP date and time. So if you go to Google or Firefox, whatever sort of you're using, type in PHP date and time. And one of the first things that will be pulled up is called a manual. And so you can just click on that, and as you can see right now, you're clearly seeing sort of like a little cheat sheet of what you can use to customize this time and date to exactly how you want it. So again, we have some preset formats here, which is always nice. You can come in and delete it too. Maybe you want this to sort of look a different way. Otherwise, if you guys do use that cheat sheet, you can just come in and just type it in basically like an expert. All right, there we go. Had to get it fixed. And then of course we do have the advanced settings, which I'm going to skip for right now. We'll come back to that in just a sec. So this tab is basically telling the digital signage, or telling your display how you want this to format. So our second step now is basically to stylize it. So I'll come over to the third tab. It's called Template. Now again, this widget is not going to have multiple templates because we can customize this using that sort of PHP manual. So really, we're always going to be in a default CSS for this widget. Now something like schedule, like I said earlier, or social media, there's multiple templates you can sort of pick and choose from. But in this tutorial, or in this situation, we're kind of lucky, we can kind of skip right over it. So last and final tab is the Style tab. So again, right up here we have sort of our toolbar. We can hit the bold, we can sort of capitalize it. a series of fonts to choose from. Now, you're not limited to these fonts. These are just default fonts. Again, there is a way we can pull in Google Fonts, and I know there's a tutorial on there. So again, you can sort of watch that and kind of figure out how maybe you want to customize this to sort of fit your branding. Right up here is the font size, so maybe I want it at 40. There's color right here, which is what we call a color picker. So you can just simply navigate around. Otherwise, if you guys, again, want to kind of match that branding, you can just come in here and sort of make sure you put the hashtag and just dump right in your hex color. Also, too, you guys, one thing, if you do know CSS and maybe you want to make a stroke or a drop shadow or, maybe it's something up here that you don't see, you can come in here and just do raw CSS. Now, definitely don't feel obligated, don't feel pressured on this. If there's sort of a look and feel you're wanting, just give us a call. Again, if you are advanced though and you do know that CSS, know that this is available for you. So as you can see, I'm getting sort of a nice little preview, kind of sort of understanding what this guy is going to look like. So I'll go ahead and hit OK, and then I'll preview this. All right, guys, so as you can see, here's sort of the example of our particular time and date. Obviously, we kind of did a poor job of choosing colors, but that's okay. At least you sort of understood the steps and how easy it is to customize it, color it, and get it to look good on your display. So our next step now is to sort of tackle this advanced setting. So I'm going to kind of jump out of here. I'm actually going to go into a different layout that I think does a better job explaining it. So the first example is that probably the most popular one is that we do have clients who have 7 days of schedules, right? And it's broken up by Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and so on. However, what they want is not only do they want the label of that particular day, but then they obviously want the date to sort of show with it. And so that is where this advanced version comes in. And so as you can see, I did sort of start this. So I obviously don't have a background, I have the schedules in, but that's okay. Our focus is just setting up these time and date labels. That's the terminology I use. So as you can see, I have one for Sunday, I have one for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. So to double click in here, let's just kind of show you what I did. The first thing is you need to set up that format, right? Again, that's maybe where that PHP comes in. Otherwise, we do have these preset formats for you. So the question is, do you want the month and the date? Do you want the day? So sort of determine that. And then you'll hit the advanced setting, and we have days offset, which again, we're just going to ignore this for right now. And then we have weekday and then relative to the week. So if I was going to set up basically this Sunday through Saturday, I want the logic to sort of do it on its own, right? So it's the 21st, the 22nd, 23rd. Obviously, after the 27th, I want this to automatically go to the 28th, the 29th, 30th, right? And sort of continue on with that pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically tell the system, hey, it is Sunday, and I want this to be relative to a week. And so what the logic is going to do is it's going to look for other widgets that have this and sort of do the logic for us, which is kind of nice. So again, I said Sunday, I said relative to the week, and I hit OK. Then again, I did that for Monday, right? I clicked in here, I went to time and date settings, I went to the advanced, and I said, hey, it's Monday, and this is relative to the week because again, I want the system to know that these two need to communicate. And actually, I did it for all of them. Now, keep in mind, you guys, is that once you sort of get one widget sort of stylized, so once you sort of say, okay, this is the format I want it to look this way, a nice, easy shortcut, instead of having to create this 6 more times, what you can do is come over here and hit the copy, and then just paste that right in, and then all you have to do is just kind of change out the settings right here. So that's sort of a little shortcut for you. All right, so that is how you would establish a week's worth schedule or a week's worth of that time and date label. All right, so let's go into that second scenario. Second scenario is, all right, well, I have today's schedule showing. As you can see, this is sort of my one. This is always going to be changing to the next day or whatever the day is. Then you want these 3 schedules to sort of communicate, but maybe like you're seeing here, maybe you want tomorrow's schedule, and then you want the next 2 days, and then you want the next 3 days. And so that's where this sort of offset comes in, because we need to tell the system, okay, hey, here's today. I want you to update, so tomorrow would be the 25th, the next day would be the 26th. This guy is always going to update, based on the day. But I want these 3 to be the next day, and the next 2 days, and the next 3 days. And you can sort of see I have this +1, +2, and +3. So how I would set that up is, again, here's my demonstration. Let's just say today's Sunday, all right? So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to go back to our advanced setting, all right? So again, I would do Sunday, but I'm not going to do relative to the week because I don't want this to be a 7 days logic or 7 days of time and date. I just want this particular widget to be Sunday, and I want you to do the logic of just 0. So you're always going to update every single day. Then I want this guy now. This guy's always going to be the next day, right? So depending on what day this is, it's always going to be the next day. So how I would set this up is, again, I'll double click in here. I'm going to go to time date setting, and I'm going to change the offset to 1 because it's 1 day after today. And then I'm going to make sure that my weekday, basically I'm turning this off because these two are only connecting when I'm sort of having a Sunday through Saturday sort of situation. In this situation or in this scenario, it's completely different. So I want to make sure I'm sort of turning that off. And so that's why you want to use the do not use weekday, because I'm saying, hey, I just want you to be 1 day after today. And then my next one, right, I want 2 days. So again, I'm going to click in here. I'm going to go to advanced setting. I'm going to have 2 days, and then I'm going to turn that off because this calendar or this sort of time and date label is always going to be 2 days after whatever this day is. So that is sort of how that advanced version sort of works. So if you guys have any additional questions, definitely feel free to reach out. You guys can email support or you can give us a call. Hope you guys have a great day though. Thank you.